announcement, which was expected. We expected this
The Wii U announcement isn't quite as big, but it's an important one, and I think it's a good one. I mean, finally, if you don't know, now you do. The Wii dropped. The Wii U is going from $350 for the deluxe package down to $300, and they're eliminating the basic package, which. Those basic packages are always advertising ploys anyways. Yes. They're simply a way to say, this is the base level price. It makes something seem cheaper. Yes. No one buys them. No. So they're dropping it to $300, which they did just in time because that puts a 100 price gap between the Wii U and the PS4, and then there's a 100 price gap between the PS4 and the Xbox One. So now any of these seem... Well, the Wii U... With $50 between the Wii U and the PS4, that's more difficult for people. But $300, plus they're doing the Wind Waker HD bundle. I have to tell you, my temptation for the Wii U I thought was past, but it's back again.
You're interested in the Wind Waker HD. That's going to put it over the top. Versus getting Nintendo Land, you rather get that.
It's one of the few Zelda titles I really like. So, okay. Yeah.
Honestly, I have no experience playing Wind Waker. I want the Nintendo Land one. So I don't just get the $300. But yeah, that's a great price point for them.
Yeah,
it's a great price point because I know there's an excuse that there's still problems. Obviously, there's still problems with the third. EA screwed them over. They're not going to be publishing for them, even though they said they would. They're not going to get GTA 5, which I thought no way in hell would Wii U not have GTA 5, since the Wii U is more powerful than the 360 and the PS3. I thought why would not be on there, but supposedly if the architecture programming is so different and vastly different than the other two systems that it'd be hard to port over. I don't know about that. I can picture GTA 5 coming to the Wii U in the future. There's too much money to pass up for them to even do a sloppy port and slap it on. Everyone who owns a Wii U would buy it.
Well, I get what you're saying, but it's not too much money to pass up if the system doesn't start moving serious units.
Sure.
And I do believe EA, I think just as an aside, I believe EA double backed on that and said that they will be publishing still for the Wii U, just not in the same capacity that they had originally planned. They're not abandoning it like they did with the Dreamcast.
They're not going to put out the same titles in the other systems, which destroys the point of it.
Sure.
Because my whole thought was, when the Wii U was announced, I'm like, oh, this is cool, because now we can have the same third-party publisher games on all three systems, because the graphic quality is going to be comparable between all three.
Right.
And trust me, the graphic quality... on these new PS and the new Xbox, they're not going to blow the Wii U away to the extent that the 360 did versus the Wii. It's a lot closer after seeing them in person. So yeah, that's a disappointment. Because I'm actually interested in GTA 5. I had GTA 4, never played it, but I thought that was cool. But GTA 5 looks pretty cool. So now I'm gonna have to fork out money for a new system, or just wait for the PC one.
GTA 5 is on the 360 and the PS3.
That's right. So, I'm fine then.
You're okay.
Yes!
Don't worry
I can buy it and not play it, just like GTA 4. The last new game I actually played and bought and then played, brand new, was LA Noire. That was already 3 years ago. Yeah. Wow. God, that was a fun game.
You're also one of the few people I know who liked it.
I thought it was fine. It was a cinematic experience, and, it's entertaining.
Fair enough.
So will you be buying the Wii U? You're going to...
No, I mean, there are games for the Wii that I would like to play. I would really like to play Wonderful 101. I think that game looks fantastic. That Platinum did, the one where you control the massive troop of superheroes. They all have different powers. It looks incredible. And then I really loved Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS, and the sequel, Super Mario 3D World, is coming out for the Wii U, which goes back to the Super Mario Brothers 2 times where you can play as the princess and, Luigi and these different characters. Sure. And I will play any video game that lets me play as Peach.
Okay,
I will. Super Princess Peach on the DS is one of my favorite games.
Mario's getting jealous.
He's fat. Flower doesn't stand a chance. So I am interested in that. My thing is, I'm looking, and if I can find 5 games that I definitely must have, then I will get a Wii U.
5.
Yeah,
5. What are we up to? We up to Wind Waker? We won.
Wind Waker, no, but see, Wind Waker is an incentive, but I don't need it. Nintendo Land, I would like to, but I don't need it. Fun. The only 2 that I really need right now are Wonderful 101 and Super Mario 3D World. So
not interested in Bayonetta at all?
No, I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine for fans, but I never played the first one. I don't beat many video games, so I mean, sequels. Chances are I'm never gonna get to it.
You don't want to get it just to be able to download Earthbound for $10 or whatever.
No, I don't. I like Earthbound, but I don't need to download Earthbound for $10. So, I mean, I'm happy, and I hope that this works for Nintendo, but unlike the 3DS price cut, which was just at the right time, which really set that system off, I feel like it might be too little too late for the Wii U. I don't know that $50 is going to really matter, although I do feel like bundling Wind Waker with it will at least move units for the holidays.
It's a shame that it's almost the same spot where the Wii is, where it's almost like, okay, we're going to be another system only pushing first-party games. But I don't blame them. I don't blame Nintendo. Like, if EA backed out, which they seemingly did, if Rockstar isn't going to put GTA 5 on the system, there's only so much Nintendo has control over that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like they're coming out with another system that's not HD. GTA 5 could be on the Wii U. It'd be better on the Wii U with the gamepad is not just a gimmick, which people don't understand. I don't think Nintendo did a good job of showing how much that tablet can do. To developers too, because some developers, when they first announced, developers like, holy shit, we can do so much stuff with this besides just clicking on inventory and things. You know, like the what's in the new Splinter Cell game. You know, switching the weapons on the screen instantly. That's a big selling point, stuff like that.
It is. It's,
that should be like, if I'm playing that's the superior version to me because of that. But they didn't push that, I don't think, enough to the public.
Well, the bigger problem, and people are still talking about it, goes back to EA, E3, 2 years ago when they announced it. I have people who still come into the store.
The marketing has been
terrible. That really think that it's an add-on for the Wii, and they want to know when the new Nintendo system is coming out. I actually have people who ask me this on a regular basis.
They should have. Hell, they could still do it now. If they did a whole new relaunch campaign and changed the name, they could still do it. And then the people that already have it would know. It wouldn't be too much of a mess when you think about it.
No, it wouldn't.
I'm saying that would be a better alternative than people, a chunk of the casual public, not even knowing that it's a new system, which boggles my mind. I guess it's, again, the casual person has no idea.
So this, I think, is a good way to lead into the next portion of the Nintendo topic, though, because it's one of my problems with the newly announced 2DS. So, Nintendo announces this 2DS today, which is a 3DS with no 3D.
It's a tablet.
It's a tablet.
It doesn't fold. It's roughly the same size as the regular 3DS unfolded.
Correct. It's actually one screen underneath to cut down on costs. They just template over it.
Sure. It's going to retail for $129, which is, $40 less than the regular 3DS.
And, so my thing with this is I think it looks weird. I think the button layout looks strange. It's mono sound.
Okay.
And like I said, I don't like the look. Anyways, long story short, it does not matter what it looks like. The thing could be even uglier. What they have just done is, I think it's a genius move, and this is why. You are going to have a lot of kids who want to play Pokemon when Pokemon comes out.
Sure.
And you have a lot of cash-strapped parents. And for $130 plus $40 for Pokemon, you are still under the price of a brand new 3DS XL. You can even get a case for that thing. And you don't have, the savings on this is pretty incredible. And all you're really losing that people are going to notice right away is a feature that very few people use on it, which is the 3D.
Yeah. And again, for children, the 3D fucks up their eyes anyway. I know people say you can turn off the 3D in the 3DS with parental control, but not even get an intact, because some parents won't even realize that.
Warnings on the package still. They don't do anything.
A lot of parents are dumb. Some parents wouldn't even know that and still give it to their kids and screw up their eyes. It probably has happened already. This is such good timing with this, because to me, it's not the backlash of, say, Affleck as Batman, but it's just as ridiculous, the reaction to me. People getting on Nintendo over a product that does not supplant or replace their current product, but is an additional product for a market that the game that already has a 3DS, is not involved in. They shouldn't even care that it's coming out. To me, them trying to... I've seen some people say where it's like, well, it's the reputation of the company. It's like, they're going for a different market entirely. And so you could say disagree with that business practice, but I don't see how that is a bad move at all. Because if you didn't know this system ever came out, it's not going to affect you either way. It's not like they're going to stop selling the 3DS XL in place of the 2DS next month. It's not like they're going to come out with games just for the 2DS that won't be on the 3DS.
No, but okay, so one of the marketing guys from Nintendo even came out and said, if you're a gamer and you have it, he basically said what you said. If you are a gamer and you have a 3DS XL, this was not intended for you.
No, it's not.
They're really pushing that it's for kids, and I appreciate that. it shouldn't affect. I do have a couple of small issues with the system, but and like I said, for kids, it's going to be great, and it's going to, from a business standpoint, it is going to sell copies of games this holiday season for Nintendo that they wouldn't have sold otherwise if they did not have an entry-level price point to get it into people's hands.
This is what I see it as. I see it as a secondary system for a household. I see it as, say, you have me and you, we get to the age where we have kids. We're going to have our own 3DS and play it. But what if you have a kid and you can't afford a second one? It's cheaper, like you said, than the first one. What if you want a quote-unquote knock-around one for the home? At the same time, you give it to a kid, and that's the one they keep in their home versus the one you travel with. That to me is a perfect scenario.
Well, here's a cool thing too that my buddy Bill brought up, and I think it's very valid for gamers, the hardcore kind who are arguing about this.
Yeah.
Nintendo region locked the 3DS. That sucks. Here's a cheap way to get a system import only, so you can play those import games without having to buy an expensive, 3DS XL or even Japanese 3DS. You now have a cheaper option. So if there are 5-6 import games that you want to play, well, here's how you do that on a budget. Finally, you have a cheaper option. I do have two problems with it, though, and the first one is this. A buddy of mine who is a developer kind of brought this up. If this takes off, developers are going to look at the install base and go, well, then, they have sort of, in a way, admitted defeat on the 3D. Meaning you have developers who are developing games, and if this takes off and becomes a highly installed item, people aren't going to work on the 3D anymore.
But are they now? How many games are on the system that 3D is essential? What percentage would you say?
Well, no, 0% of the games is 3D essential. There are probably about 50% of the games where the 3D is very nice. Shin Megami Tensei 4, which just came out, has excellent 3D. So his concern is, what do you develop for? Do you put money into the 3D knowing that you have this group of hardcore gamers that would like to maybe see some 3D? Or do you save that money and you just forego the 3D? Where do you put your budgeting? What do you do? You've fragmented the user base by making one that can only do 2D.
When I look at the 3DS, this is coming from someone that has a box one who hasn't opened it yet. That was a good gift, by the way, from a fan. But I look at it as, if I open that thing up, the 3D to me is a bonus. That's not why I have the 3DS. That's why people don't have the 3DS to play Pokemon in 3D. They have it to play Pokemon. Right. That's the difference.
But you're missing my point. It's a bonus. It's a bonus now that developers don't know that they should concern themselves with.
I don't think the 2DS will ever supplant the 3DS in sales. It'd be silly to think so. It might be 10% at some point or 15%. It's just to fill a hole that they think is not there right now. They can fill maybe preschools will buy them, or kindergarten will buy a couple for the classroom. Who knows? Something like that. Maybe they can use it. Learning tools, educational games maybe will be developed. Maybe they're thinking about that. There's other ways out there. Other markets that maybe aren't being touched by Sony and not by Nintendo yet, and that's why they're doing it. So, to me, the loss of the 3D is kind of like, again, it screws up kids' eyes anyway. Will developers care that much?
It doesn't screw up kids' eyes. Doctors have even come out and said it doesn't. Nintendo's playing hyper safe.
Whatever. Even if it, whatever. The freaking Virtual Boy screws up my eyes. So they should have been a warning on that more than 10 minutes. Anyway. But no, I think that the reaction has been ridiculous because it doesn't affect anyone really.
Well, my second problem, calling it the 2DS, I'm going to have to answer a lot of freaking questions.
You're coming from the fact that you work in a game store. So
well, okay. This is, you have to understand, if this is for kids and this is the market, it's going to confuse parents when they see 2DS next to a 3DS game. It's going to drive retailers nuts, and it's not going to make things easy for parents.
Well, the games are all going to be 3DS games, though.
Yeah, but it's identity crisis again. People don't know that the Wii U is a new system. Parents aren't going to know what a 2D to the 3DS is. It's if you think logically, 2 comes before 3, they're going to think it's a different system. They have to market this right.
It could be, but otherwise they can't have 3D then anymore because it's not 3D anymore. So what's their choice? As long as they
just take the number out of it. I don't care.
Sure. What would you say then? You call it like?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. I have
DS tablet.
That's their job, not mine.
I know,
DS tablet is fine.
I think as long as they put in big balloon letters 3DS game compatible on the front, that should eliminate the problem. It should. I'm not saying it will. It should.
Yes, it should.
I know the consumer base can be dumb. I know that. You work with them. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's the biggest problem as the rest. But I just think that going back to the reaction. I think the reaction is just ridiculous. When people were like, "Oh, this is a big thing," but then they actually came out with the picture comparison. It's not that big or bigger than the regular DS unfolded. I don't see the problem.
Once I got in my head that it was about the size of a regular DS, and I really looked at it, I actually don't think it's as ugly as I initially thought it was. I think it's kind of cute. Um, the way that it the way that it slants and the way that it looks like it's meant to be put on a table.
Sure.
That's the only thing that's weird for me, only because that would make it really great for like first generation DS titles that were largely controlled by stylus, because that would almost be relaxing to play that way. But as soon as you have to pick up, I mean, maybe we'll see more games come out like that now, downloadable titles, app priced games that only use the touchpad, because I could see that as being a comfortable way to play a game with the slight raise up. That'd be kind of cool. But I also feel like it's going to be strange for certain games. Anything that uses the bottom screen as extra button space, and Pokemon games do this all the time, your thumb is no longer within reach of the bottom screen. Your thumb is within reach of the top screen, so there's going to be a lot more reaching down to hit the bottom screen for things that used to be second nature.
Kids need the extra exercise anyway.
Yeah,
but they still sell the DS Lite, do they not? Is that still available new?
Probably through Amazon. I don't know if
they probably still supply somewhere.
I don't know if GameStop does.
I can't picture them not. I mean, because
not the DS Lite. They definitely don't sell the DS Lite. DSi, sure.
I mean, okay, DSi they do. Okay,
I bet they probably still sell, but probably not for much longer. I mean, with every iteration of hardware they come out with, they remove an iteration. So with the 2DS, they will probably finally get rid of DSi's if they're still in stores.
Yeah, that to me. Nintendo always seems to go one step too far when it comes to their handhelds. And again, people are getting pissed at the 2DS. It's like, I'd be more pissed again if the internet was around when the Play It Loud Game Boys came out. That was. You want to talk about a cash-in? That was a cash-in. Because, it's like, all right, we know this color Game Boy's on the way, but for the year and a half before, we'll just give you the same old shitty Game Boy, but we're going to put it with a green case or a black case and try to move more.
You're forgetting a crucial step. Not only was there gray DMGs, then Play It Loud DMGs, but then there was the pockets, which were all different colors.
Sure.
And then, I mean, in Japan, you had it even crazier. There was the light, and then the Game Boy Color. So they milked the hell out of the black and white.
I just had a problem. I thought the Game Boy Pocket was great because it made it black and white.
It's a beautiful screen.
But I never liked the original Game Boy just because the green. I was like, green. But yeah, that was the worst. The Play It Loud series. That was a cash in. Like that was just like, give us your money instead of coming out with the Game Boy Color. That's the way I looked at it, at least. We'll put off for another year. But no, this is just. You can't take money from people on a product that's cheaper versus the rest that are more expensive in this case, because people, I think what's the Nintendo domination of the handheld market? 90%. It's similar to what the Nintendo was when it came out, so it's like, again, this is just to get at that market or create a new market.
Well, it's also keeping them hyper competitive.
Sure.
With the Vita, because the Vita just received its much needed discount. The Vita just got dropped to $199.99, which actually makes it something that people might look at now. And as a person who recently picked one up, it's a nice system. I would never suggest it over a 3DS to anyone. But it, in an effort to become competitive, they did drop the price. And I mean, Nintendo answers right back with this unit. So,
sure.
It's.
Well, what's the 3DS been out for? 2 years now? Is it 2 years?
I don't know. I've owned the original, and yeah, it's about 2 years.
So because the XL came out a year ago, 1 year after the 3DS. Yeah.
I think the XL came out like early this year, and then they were like a year apart. Okay. So it's about 2.
So this is almost a year later to that. So next year we're gonna have the 3DS XL Color will come out, or Play It Loud series a year from now, and Nintendo will just milk it every time. Every time.
I just want to quickly bring up, since we're on the topic of handhelds, and I brought up the Vita. Did you hear the rumor? And I don't think it's been squashed yet. That they are going to make a new Vita. That is not a 5-inch OLED. It is a 6.3-inch OLED. Now, I just want to talk about this for a second, real quick. To anyone who thinks that you need a bigger, and no one does. I know anyone listening is smart enough to realize they don't need a bigger Vita because the Vita's huge. I have played games on the Vita with my girlfriend, comfortably sitting next to her, each of us holding on the one side of the unit with no problems whatsoever. That's how freaking big it is.
It's
Because
it's the Atari Lynx of the modern era.
there are certain games where they'll let you do it. Like Dive Kick just came out, fantastic, simplified 2-button fighting game, and you can actually use left and down on one side and square and circle on the other.
And it works.
Bonnie and I sat there comfortably playing. At no point during this gaming that we were doing did we say, "Holy shit, it would be awesome if this thing was bigger." That'd be great.
Well, a 6.3 to 5, that's like 24% bigger, 23% bigger, doing the quick math in my head.
Plus, they're keeping the same resolution.
Well,
the rumor is if this is true, they're keeping the same resolution, which degrades the best feature of the Vita, which is its absolutely gorgeous screen.
I don't know. I think the problem has always been marketing. With the Sony handhelds, the Go was an absolute abysmal failure, as you know.
Yeah, but the Go was a failure because the Go was shit.
But when I first heard about it, I said it was gonna be shit when it was announced, and basically everyone did. Was that even out for a year before they got rid of that thing? You know what I mean? Like,
no, it was one of the few systems where, like, even upon launch, we were like, I don't think we're taking these into the store. I don't, because they'll just sit there. The Vita is great if you like indie games. If you have a PS3 or you're gonna get a PS4, there's no reason not to, because it lets you play so many of those games simultaneously on the go. Like, it's great for that. It's great for ports. But we're not. I mean, it's in the same position with original software that the Wii U is. There is none. It's nothing worthwhile.
Oh, poor Vita.
I've got 30 pinball machines on mine. I'm happy as a clam.
You squeeze them all in there, happy as a clam. You always use that expression. Are clams that happy? Really? They just get shucked. That's all that happens as a clam. How happy are you when you get shucked? Oh, man. Yeah, 2DS, I don't see the big deal. It doesn't affect me at all. And I know you can say, well, a lot of video game stuff doesn't affect you. But no, but this really doesn't. Because, again, this isn't like its own line. It's totally just... It's as if... What's a good analogy? I'm trying to think of a great analogy in video games. It's almost like... It's like any other Nintendo handheld. It's like, I can get the DS Fatty, the DS Lite, or the DSi. One's not really replacing the other. It's just different. All three are different. They have different features.
My final statement on it is, it's a good move by Nintendo. It's a good move for cash-strapped parents. A lot of kids will be happy that they can play Pokemon this year because their parents found a cheap way to do it. I still want to see how it takes off, and I do think it could really become a nuisance to developers.
The developer thing I'm not going to talk about because that's total speculation, which could be a year or 2 or 3 years down the line if it ever happens. This is the other thing, though. $129. If that's the suggested retail price, let's say 6, 7, 8 9 months from now, that they drop that puppy down to like $109, or imagine a $99 Nintendo tablet. Then talk about not just for kids. Then they would fly off the shelves. I'm not sure if Nintendo's thinking about that long term, but that'd be huge if that ever happened.
Well, at $130 right now, I think it's reasonable to assume that by next Christmas, not this Christmas, it'll be $99.
Then they're going to sell. I mean, not just sell. I mean, they'll sell to every kid at that point.
Sure.
Because that's just like, it'd be stupid not to get it. And I think I saw some comments about, well, the DS, you can fold up and protect the screen. It's like, before the DS, all the handhelds you couldn't fold up and protect.
I stupidly made that argument and had a friend who had to point it out to me. And I was like, okay, you're right. I mean, I have seen what small children will do to plastic hinges.
That's more dangerous to me.
That
to me is more dangerous than a shatterproof glass or shatterproof plastic.
If you think about it, and I mean, all it took was my buddy being like, you're being silly about it. Hinges are a far greater liability to a console than exposed screens.
Yes.
Plenty of kids had Game Boy Colors on the playground, and they were fine.
I find way more, at the swap meets, way more DSs with damaged hinges than Game Boys or DSs with smashed screens. It's just... It's not a problem that's going to happen a lot.
Yeah.
It's just not. Or, you get like a bumper on it, like you do for your iPad. You buy I'm sure Nintendo put out like a $10 bumper for it. So if you drop it, it's not going to hit on the screen anyway. Or maybe it'll be built in. I don't know. Maybe they'll build in a thin one. A thin little layer around the board. And that's all it'll take. Unless you're going to get a screwdriver and wedge it into the screen, it'll be fine. Kids are savvy nowadays.
But a kid who's going to do that is going to do that anyways.
Well, yeah, if a kid's going to be psychotic, it's going to be psychotic. But kids are savvy. Now kids that are 3 and 2 grow up using smartphones. It's insane. I'm officially old now. When you have kids growing up with like little smartphones and using them, so I mean,
nothing makes you feel older than working in a video game shop and having someone walk in and being like, "Holy shit, you've got the N64! I got that when I was in kindergarten."